Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode Recap and Thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the Funimation dub of episode 126 of Dragonball Super. We begin this episode with a few scenes that were shown in the previous episode. More specifically, the episode starts with the scene that shows Top using Frieza's earlier words against him, Frieza, and Top then kicks Frieza off the arena, but Android 17 throws a piece of rubble towards Frieza, which causes Frieza to land on a different part of the arena. Top praises Android 17 for still participating in the Tournament of Power, even after going up against Top with the powers of a destroyer. But Top says it's pointless for Android 17 to try and defeat him, Top. Android 17 responds that he can win as long as he's still standing. Android 17 and Top each launch their own energy blasts towards each other, and this leads to a beam struggle, but Top's Hakai Ball quickly overpowers Android 17's energy blast. Android 17 manages to avoid being hit by the Hakai Ball, even though the Hakai Ball had won the beam struggle. Top then launches multiple energy blasts towards Android 17, but Android 17 is able to avoid these energy blasts too, and Android 17 tries to think of a plan while hiding behind some rubble. Unfortunately, Android 17 doesn't have any time to think of a plan because Top uses another Hakai Ball on the rubble that Android 17 is hiding behind. Top then goes through the hole in the rubble that he created with the Hakai Ball to stand in front of Android 17, and Top says something along the lines about how hiding will only delay the inevitable. Android 17 then notices the rubble fully falling apart behind Top, and this gives Android 17 an idea. So Android 17 starts to run towards a different part of the arena, and Top begins to chase after Android 17. Eventually, Android 17 lures Top towards larger rubble, and he tricks Top into using another Hakai Ball on this rubble. Android 17 then blasts the unstable rubble so that it will fall on top of Top. And this impresses Beerus, Piccolo, and Android 18. Unfortunately, Top uses the destruction energy to break free from the rubble that fell on top of him, and Top proceeds to launch multiple energy blasts at Android 17. And this time, Android 17 is hit by these energy blasts. Eventually, Android 17 collapses to the ground, and Top prepares an energy ball to finish off Android 17, although Top does make a point to mention that he will make sure that the energy ball isn't lethal because Top doesn't want to break the no-killing rule so that he won't get disqualified from the tournament. Suddenly, Frieza launches a death beam towards the energy ball, and this interrupts Top's attack. The explosion that happens when Frieza launches a death beam towards the energy ball, that explosion causes Android 17 to be flung towards a different part of the arena. Frieza then traps Top in an energy ball that causes paralysis, and Frieza then launches some pieces of rubble towards Top, but the leader of the Pride Troopers is not affected by this attack. Frieza then launches multiple energy blasts towards Top, but once again, the leader of the Pride Troopers isn't really affected, and he even manages to break free from the energy ball that's causing paralysis. Top then charges towards Frieza, and he throws Frieza towards Android 17's current location. Android 17 and Frieza both launch multiple energy blasts towards Top, but Top is still unaffected by these attacks. And Top says something along the lines about how this is proof that they cannot defeat him. Top then prepares to knock Android 17 and Frieza off the arena, but he's interrupted by some energy that is radiating from Goku and Vegeta's fight against Jiren. Eventually, Jiren launches an energy blast towards Goku and Vegeta. Universe 7's pure-blooded Saiyans are able to avoid the energy blast, but the energy blast ends up hitting the energy blast ends up heading towards Android 17 and Frieza, and it seems to have hit Android 17 and Frieza. So for now, it's believed that Android 17 and Frieza have been defeated. So thinking that, Top decides to fight Vegeta now, and Top wastes no time launching multiple energy blasts towards Universe 7's Saiyan Prince. Android 18 and Gohan both figure out that Top and Jiren are trying to separate Goku and Vegeta so that the pure-blooded Saiyans of Universe 7 can't team up against Jiren. Beerus and Shin say something along the lines about how this could lead to the Universe 11 team gaining the advantage. Vegeta manages to escape from Top's energy blasts, and he launches a final flash towards Top, but the leader of the Pride Troopers counters by launching a Hakai Ball, and this leads to a beam struggle. In the end, the Hakai Ball beats the final flash, although Vegeta manages to avoid actually being hit by the Hakai Ball. Top says that Vegeta's Super Saiyan Blue evolution form, while powerful, is still not powerful enough to defeat him, Top, with the powers of a destroyer. But Vegeta is still determined to win so that he can keep his promise to Cabba. Vegeta is caught off guard by Top using a series of quick attacks, and Vegeta thinks back to when he fought Top earlier during the Tournament of Power. Vegeta notes that Top's fighting style now is different compared to the fighting style that Top demonstrated earlier during the Tournament of Power. Vegeta points out that Top is now talking about destruction when in the past Top had talked about justice, but Top responds by saying that he considers justice to be useless if it can't protect Universe 11, or at least that's along the lines of what Top says anyway. Top then proceeds to mock Vegeta about his desire to keep his promise to a fellow Saiyan, and Top says that a promise to a fellow Saiyan isn't going to be enough to defeat him, Top. And Top also mentions that he will survive at all costs by forsaking everything that he deems unnecessary. Top launches an energy ball towards Vegeta, and Vegeta responds that he won't forsake anything. He then thinks about Bulma, Trunks, Bola, and Cabba. Vegeta manages to fight back against the energy ball, and he's able to land several hits on the leader of the Pride Troopers. Vermod is furious about Top losing the advantage in this fight, and he encourages Top to do whatever it takes to win, so long as he doesn't break the no-killing rule. Vegeta continues to attack Top while saying Top can't protect his pride, and Vegeta thinks that a failure is unable to protect his pride, or that's along the lines of what Vegeta says anyway. Eventually, Vegeta, after finishing some more attacks, after landing some more attacks on Top, Vegeta then says that he will use an attack that's too powerful for Top's destruction energy, and Piccolo recognizes this attack. Piccolo realizes that Vegeta is going to perform the final explosion. The final explosion was the attack that Vegeta used in the Buu saga when he sacrificed his life in order to try and defeat Buu, although Vegeta's sacrifice ended up being in vain during the Buu saga. Top counters by combining two Hakai balls into a bigger Hakai ball, but Vegeta is still able to successfully perform the final explosion. This breaks the arena into more pieces, and Top is thrown off the arena. Top has been teleported to the spectator seats, and he no longer has the powers of a destroyer activated. He's back to his usual appearance. Universe 11's Angel Assistant still praises Top for his efforts, while K is surprised that Top was defeated. The Omni Kings agree with each other that the fight was a very exciting one, and the Grand Minister declares that Top has been eliminated from the Tournament of Power. The Universe 7 characters in the spectator seats are afraid that Vegeta had sacrificed himself to eliminate Top from the tournament, but then they see that Vegeta is still alive, and he's still in the arena. Although Vegeta is back to his normal form, and we see that his armor, his gloves, and his shirt are now gone. Piccolo comments that Vegeta is much stronger now, since he was able to survive the final explosion this time compared to when he used the final explosion during the Buu saga. But Beerus points out that Vegeta has used up almost, if not all, of his stamina. Android 17 then emerges from some nearby rubble, and Gohan notes that Android 17 seems to be a bit injured. K admits that he didn't think that it would come down to Jiren being the only member of the Universe 11 team still participating in the Tournament of Power. Dispo encourages Jiren to win, while Jiren responds by saying that he's disappointed in Top and he expected more from the leader of the Pride Troopers. Goku takes issue with Jiren saying that to his own teammate, but Jiren responds by knocking Goku off the pillar that they were both standing on. They're still both in the arena. It was just a pillar it was just a pillar, not the whole arena. Goku's still in the arena. He just got knocked off the pillar that he was standing on with Jiren. But in any case, Jiren then praises Vegeta for achieving so much power without forsaking his ideals, and he congratulates Universe 7's Saiyan Prince for defeating the leader of the Pride Troopers. Jiren then begins to power up. The narrator reveals that 4 minutes are left in the Tournament of Power, and that is how we end this episode. So this episode concludes the part of the Tournament of Power where Top activates the powers of a destroyer. So I guess you could call it a two-parter, because it was the previous episode when Top had awakened the powers of a destroyer, or activated the powers of a destroyer, and it was in this episode when Top was defeated even after he awakened the powers of a destroyer. Now, for pretty much most of the previous... during the previous episode, and for most of this episode, Top was facing off against Android 17 and Frieza, but in the end, it was actually Vegeta who defeated Top and who eliminated Top from the Tournament of Power. And I do understand the reason why they decided to have Vegeta be the one to eliminate Top, or at least I'm pretty sure I get what they were going for. It was, yes, earlier in the Tournament of Power, Vegeta and Top had faced off against each other, and Vegeta had insulted Top by calling him the second string of Universe 11, although Top responds that Vegeta would be considered the second string of Universe 7. So, yeah, you could say this was a fight between the second strings of their respective universes. But another detail why I think it was fitting to have Vegeta be the one to eliminate Top was how this episode seemed to reference certain details about Vegeta during the Buu saga. This becomes very clear once we see... yes, I think it was hinted beforehand, but I think it becomes very clear when Vegeta performed the final explosion. And it was cool to see the final explosion make a return after we last saw it during the Buu saga. And I think Vegeta's use of the final explosion was what really highlighted what I think they were trying to do with Top. Yes, I believe, yes, other fans believe this too. So this is speculation among several fans, myself included. It seems pretty safe to say that Top forsaking his ideals and justice to achieve more power was meant to parallel with how Vegeta forsaked his family to achieve more power back in the Buu saga when Vegeta was going through his Majin Vegeta phase. So yes, some fans, myself included, do believe that Top awakening the powers of a destroyer was meant to compare and contrast with how Vegeta became Majin Vegeta during the Buu saga. Although some fans will note that while Vegeta forsaked his family in the Buu saga to achieve more power, and while Top had forsaken his beliefs in justice or his ideals in justice to achieve more power, some fans will still note that the reasons were different. Some fans still had made a point to note that Top's reason for forsaking his ideals were still more noble compared to Vegeta's back in the Buu saga. Top's reason for forsaking his ideals and justice was for the sake of ensuring that Universe 11 would survive, while Vegeta's reasons for forsaking his family to achieve the Majin powers were much more selfish. Vegeta just wanted to best Goku. But some people still think that the whole idea that some people, though, still feel that even though Top's reasons were more noble, they still felt that it was meant to be considered an example of the ends not justifying the means. But yes, a lot of people did appreciate how Vegeta said he would not forsake his family or his promise to Kappa, for that matter, in order to try and gain more power to defeat Top. Even Jiren had complimented Vegeta for achieving such power without forsaking his ideals or his principles or his family and his promise to Kappa. You get the idea. So, yes, and a big difference here was while in the Buu saga, Vegeta didn't survive the final explosion, and it ended up being a vain sacrifice because Buu didn't perish from the final explosion. But in this saga, in the Universe Survival Saga, Vegeta actually survived the final explosion, and it wasn't in vain. Top was eliminated from the Tournament of Power. Now, I've seen some people wonder how could Vegeta survive the final explosion this time around, because they thought they didn't really like the explanation that Vegeta was stronger, so he was able to endure the final explosion. Some fans didn't like that because they thought, isn't it supposed to be a sacrificial attack, or isn't it meant to be an attack that would sacrifice the user's life? But to be fair, this isn't the first time when an attack that was originally considered lethal to the user ended up not becoming lethal to the user later on. I'm talking about the Evil Containment Wave. The Evil Containment Wave first appeared in the Piccolo Senior or King Piccolo sub-saga of classic Dragon Ball, and in that sub-saga, the Evil Containment Wave was shown to be lethal to the user. Master Roshi had actually perished when he performed the Evil Containment Wave, and his mentor, Master Mutaito, had also perished when he performed the Evil Containment Wave. However, in the following sub-saga, the Piccolo Jr. sub-saga, Kami and Piccolo Jr., the Piccolo we know from Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, were both able to perform the Evil Containment Wave, or the Evil Containment Wave Reflection in Piccolo's case, and neither of them had perished from using the attack. And in Dragon Ball Super, we have also seen characters survive after using the Evil Containment Wave, like Future Trunks and even Master Roshi. Master Roshi was actually able to use the Evil Containment Wave several times without perishing, compared to back when he first used the technique during classic Dragon Ball. So I didn't have a problem buying into the idea that Vegeta was able to survive the final explosion this time because he was stronger compared to when he used it during the Buu saga. I didn't think that was an unreasonable explanation. Because the Roshi surviving the Evil Containment Wave after using it several times compared to when he first used it back in classic Dragon Ball, that's the reason why I didn't have a problem with Vegeta surviving the final explosion here compared to when he used it during the Buu saga. So I think there's nothing wrong with the idea of a character is able to endure an attack that was originally lethal to the user because they're stronger now compared to when they used it before. And otherwise, yes. So that's probably was the big thing about this episode that I liked. I liked how this episode ended up paralleling, this episode created a parallel with the Majin Vegeta part of the Buu saga. Top, like Vegeta at one point in the past, had forsaken his principles for the sake of more power, and it ended up being in vain. But this time around, Vegeta actually didn't forsake his principles, and he ended up defeating Top. So I thought that was a pretty cool moment, and it really does go to show how far Vegeta has come with his character development when you compare him to earlier on in the franchise. Although the Buu saga was considered one of the big moments for Vegeta's character development, so it really does go to show how far Vegeta's character has come throughout his place in the franchise, and that was pretty cool. And people thought it was heartwarming that Vegeta cares about his family now, because originally he was willing to forsake his family to gain more power, but this time he wouldn't forsake his family to gain more power. So yeah, a lot of fans really appreciate Vegeta's character development and how it was highlighted in this episode, and how Top achieving the powers of a destroyer acted like a compare and contrast with Vegeta becoming Majin Vegeta. And we do get a little insight on Jiren's character here, because Jiren was disappointed in Top. Jiren was disappointed in Top. And Jiren had also complimented Vegeta for not forsaking his principles to gain more power. So again, it's a little insight. It's not a whole lot, but it still gives us at least some insight on Jiren's character, and I do appreciate that. And now we're down to the final battle of the we're now down to the final battle of the Universe Survival Saga and the Tournament of Power. It's Goku, Vegeta, Android 17, and Frieza against Jiren. Now, true, we haven't seen Frieza. We hadn't seen Frieza. We hadn't seen Frieza emerge from wherever he is on the arena by the end of the episode. We saw Goku. We saw Vegeta is still in the arena, and Vegeta had survived the final explosion, even if his stamina has been drained significantly. And we did see Android 17 emerge from some rubble, but we haven't seen Frieza yet. However, Frieza hasn't been teleported to the spectator seat, so we know that he's still in the arena. He's still participating in the tournament, even though we didn't see him at the end of the episode. So we know Frieza will pop up again eventually. It's just a question of when. Well, at least for the dub-only viewers, it's a question. If you've seen the sub version, or if you've read up on the later episodes, then you know what the deal is, but I won't talk about that here for the sake of the dub-only viewers. But essentially, yes, the 7th Universe team has the advantage in terms of numbers, but Jiren has proven himself to be incredibly powerful, and by the end of the episode, Jiren is preparing to power up, which means, it's going to be a lot harder to beat Jiren if he's going to use more power, or if he's taking off the gloves, so to speak. So, yeah, we're down to the last battle of the Tournament of Power, but it's sure not going to be easy, because Jiren has proven himself to be incredibly powerful. And it doesn't help that even though the 7th Universe team has the numbers advantage, they've also are pretty worn out from fighting throughout the Tournament of Power. The Grand Minister had brought that up in an earlier episode, that most, if not all, of the other participating universes were pretty much singling out the 7th Universe team throughout the tournament. So they've definitely been tired out from all the other universes gaining up on them or trying to single them out throughout the tournament. So it's going to be a pretty intense final battle for the tournament, and we'll be sure to talk about that throughout the rest of the recap and thoughts videos for the Universe Survival Saga. But otherwise, I would say that's it for this episode. So, like I said, I did appreciate how this episode, I actually did like the touch of having Vegeta be the one to defeat Top, both because Vegeta and Top are considered the second strings of their respective universes, but also because I liked how Top activating the powers of a destroyer had a parallel with Vegeta becoming Majin Vegeta, and how Vegeta was able to perform the final explosion, and this time it wasn't a vain effort. Vegeta using the final explosion this time around led to him surviving and Top being eliminated from the tournament, although his stamina had been drained significantly. And yes, I did like how we got a little insight on Jiren's character, even if it was only a brief moment or two. And now we're down to the final battle of the Tournament of Power. 4 fighters from Universe 7 against Jiren, and you can be sure that it's going to be a very intense final battle. But otherwise, yes, I would say that's it for now. So as of this video, we've now discussed the Funimation dub of episode 126 of Dragon Ball Super on this channel. Take care, and until next time.